as more and more AAA games are developed in Unreal Engine 5, and as Nvidia continues to push AI technologies like DLSS and Frame Generation, there is one question that remains. Are high-end GPUs even worth it at this point? I think that is a fair question and an honest question that we really need to look at, because think about it. If you go out and buy a 5080 or a 5090, for example, which are incredibly expensive GPUs in 2025, and yet a new game comes out and you still have to turn on DLSS and Frame Generation just to have a decent non-stuttery gameplay experience, that seems like a bad deal to me. If that's the case, if that's where we're going to stay in the gaming industry, then my opinion is buy something like a 5070 Ti or 9070 XT, then turn on FSR or DLSS and enjoy the savings from not getting a 5080 or a 5090. And that's the same question I had the opportunity to ask two other tech YouTubers, and that's the clip you're about to watch right now. But before we get to that, honestly, I want to know your opinion. Drop a comment down below letting me know how you feel about upscaling technologies in 2025 as it pertains to the latest and greatest titles coming out. Does it bother you at all that you might have to turn on DLSS or FSR? And on top of that, now, how are you feeling about frame generation? Do these technologies come as a benefit for you, or do you look at them as a downside, something that you shouldn't have to rely on? I'm genuinely interested in knowing your thoughts, so let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed the conversation between me, Danny Z Reviews, and Taekwondo. And if you're new here, please consider getting subscribed. All right, I'll see you in the comment section. Let's talk about upscaling and AI and how that relates. Oblivion just came out. Danny, I saw your post. I know how you feel about it. I'm on the same page. I'm actually going to be playing Oblivion tonight with my buddy and I. We're going to hop in Discord. He'll do his playthrough. I'll do mine, and we'll just chat about what we're doing. Looking forward to it. But also, I'm like, I have a $2,500 GPU in my system, and I already know, unless I use upscaling, I'm in for a stutter fest and 70 FPS. Because my buddy, he bought a 360 AIO 5090. I sent it to the group when he bought it. After tax, he was over $3,000 for that card. Okay. He got it from our micro center. He got there and it was $2,800 MSRP. It was like a gigabyte Auroras or something like that, or Extreme. Yeah. And anyway, so that's the one he has. And then he got Oblivion. He started playing Oblivion before me. He messaged me. He's like, bro, he said 4K max settings. I'm getting 70 FPS. Like, what? Yeah. On a $3,000 GPU. Most of the games are being ran on Unreal Engine or being built in Unreal Engine, which often leads to a stutter fest. And then developers are just like, just enable DLSS, bro, and frame generation. So it's like, okay, if I have to enable these AI technologies anyway, is it even worth, even if you can afford it, even if it's available in your area, is it really worth even buying the high end at that point? Because the whole point of buying the high end is to have that horsepower, right? I want the best. I'm going to do the best. But if they're putting you into a situation where I got to turn on upscaling anyway, well, you can save all that money, get a 5070 Ti, enable multi-frame generation for a single player story driven game, DLSS, balance, performance, quality if you want better image, and you're going to get close to 200 FPS.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know debate FPS, but I think you guys get where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to know your thoughts on that. Like, how do y'all feel about that?
Danny,
it's an interesting perspective because, you mentioned how developers are just basically telling people, just turn on DLSS or frame generation as a solution. And I think looking at it from Nvidia's side, that's part of the deal you're getting. Like, in their eyes, that's part of the deal. Like, it's not just about the hardware anymore. They're also selling you on the whole AI feature set, right? So that goes back to what we were talking about, how when you look at the actual hardware, you're not getting the same level of hardware you used to, but because you have, AI multi-frame generation now and upscaling to help make up for that lost performance. Yeah, like it's a tough one, right? Because you want to look at playing new games, and especially if it's like a $3,000 graphics card, you want to play it max ultra settings or whatever, and be able to get like over 100, 150 FPS. But then when you're looking at, I don't know, Oblivion Remastered, right, and you're getting like 70 FPS, it doesn't make you feel good about your purchase.
Yeah,
right.
But in Nvidia's eyes, they're going to tell you, well, you're supposed to be turning on multi-frame generation with upscaling, and then you're supposed to get that experience that you were expecting. But for us, I guess, because we're more old school, I guess, we're looking at it we just want to focus on raw rasterization first.
Yeah. Native resolution, I feel like, is, I'm not gonna lie, I turn on DLSS more than I don't, and that was something I didn't do for a long time until it got really decent. I will not use frame generation. Even in Cyberpunk, I turned it on a few times and played with it, and I can just tell. I don't know what it is. I can just tell there's something about it. It's just very subtle. If you're playing with mouse and keyboard, it's just there. If you're playing a game that has like I play on a 60 hertz Hisense TV downstairs, I don't really care that much. But when I'm playing on, again, this goes back to the high end stuff. When I'm playing on a $2,000+ GPU, which the Founders Edition, like, I don't want to feel that. Like, I literally am playing on that to not feel that. I'm not playing on that to play a console. I don't care when it's on like the PlayStation 5 or whatever, and I'm using that because I'm used to it. It's like, all right, input That's lag, latency on the sticks and stuff. I'm used to that. That's fine. Steam Deck. I can run the Steam Deck at 30 FPS. I don't care. But the PC, it's like, this is when you come and you sit down and you're like, all right, I want the ultimate experience, even if you're on like a 5070 Ti, because you look at the 5070 Ti's performance, right? That's a fast
It's still
card.
up there.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fast card.
Yeah.
And it should be able to do 4K 75, 80 FPS pretty consistently in most modern titles, without having to turn on like any sort of upscaling or so it's like, it is kind of like you said, E-Rock, it's like, it's pretty depressing in a way, because you're like, what the heck? But I did also listen to this very long developer conversation, and I can try to find it and send you guys. It was the creator of the original Fallout arguing with why people get mad about, like, what they do is they just instantly blame the developer and be like, oh, you're just getting lazy and you're using DLSS. There's a lot of different layers to it. So I don't want to say like the devs are lazy. I think they make shortcuts and understand that there's technology to bypass those shortcuts, I guess you would say, or like overcome them. And sometimes it works in their favor and sometimes it doesn't. And like a game like Fortnite is a great example, right? Like, that game runs amazing. But if you blow that game up with like all the tech, you can crush your card. Even a 5090, you can actually crush your card. And like running what's it called? Nanite, and like everything
Lumen.
maxed out. Lumen.
Yeah.
Everything maxed out, and it's like the game runs pretty slow, and this is like a cartoony game on a 5090, and you're like, wow. But so
that's it's a good point. I mean, I know in defense of developers, I also know there's deadlines, right? I mean, and the company wants to hit Christmas. They want to get the sales out, and so I can see it now. You go to your manager, you're like, hey, if I just have 3 more weeks, I can really polish this. Manager's like, but that's after Christmas and I need my bonus, right?
Exactly.
I mean, we all know the story there. Multi-frame generation, my experience so far, I think the last time we all met, I was just starting to play with it. You asked me about it, Kyle, and I couldn't really say much about it because I was just starting. Now, I've actually played with it a lot, multiple times over. So Cyberpunk, ironically, even though it's supposed to be the poster child, the poster boy or whatever for Nvidia, when you turn on multi-frame generation, there are tons of places you can find issues. And I even showed some of that in some of my videos, especially on the bike. If you're going super fast, the wind visor is just, it's horrible.
It's like a ghosting,
there was even a courtyard where there were people sitting at a table drinking coffee, 2 NPCs talking, and I just do this, and you can see the ghosting on the head. It was so bad.
Was that
that was
X4?
Yeah.
X4. Okay.
Then you go to Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm just, hand to God, I'm being as honest as I can be with you guys, in my opinion. Hogwarts Legacy, I'm surprised it already has X4 multi-frame generation. I was surprised they added that in, but cool. 2, when you enable it and you run around Hogsmeade, in my opinion, and I've done this on 3 different NVIDIA GPUs now, maxed out everything, ultra settings, ultra ray tracing, DLSS. I think they put ray reconstruction in it. And then also multi-frame generation X4. To me, it was a really good experience. In terms of artifacting, Cyberpunk was way worse. I don't know how that's possible. I do not know how that is possible.
I think lighting.
It's got to be. I don't know. But latency is a little bit hit or miss. It's a little bit subjective, right? Because some people are going to be more latency sensitive than other people. I mean, now there's going to be a point in time where everybody just feels it, right? Let's be honest about that. But when you're talking like, I don't know, like 25 versus 30, I don't really know. I don't really know who's going to feel that, but I do want to go back and do like dedicated multi-frame generation testing with latency numbers on the screen and play with it. Maybe bring in a friend or two who isn't really familiar and say, hey, play that. What does it feel like to you? Does it feel sluggish or does it feel very smooth? Overall, in my opinion, multi-frame generation is better than I expected it to be at the start of this launch. Like I remember going into it, I'm like, man, this is going to be a disaster. Like that was my thought, right? In Hogwarts Legacy, it's actually not that bad. In Cyberpunk, tons of easy to find issues like ghosting, artifacting, which is so weird because that game is dedicated to showcasing the latest Nvidia technology. So I don't know.
Stalker should be a good example since we're talking about like stuttering and Unreal Engine 5. Like Stalker is a game I would play, but everyone tells me it's like they'll be playing on a 4090 and they're running at like 45 FPS, medium and high settings in a town. Like your mixed settings,
Surprisingly for myself, like a game that I played last summer that I actually did use frame generation in was Black Myth Wukong. And that is a game that it's like a very fast-paced action game, right? Some people I don't know, some people say it's not a Souls-like. I feel like it's kind of there, but it is a very fast-paced game where your actions and your inputs matter a lot, and like the way you time stuff with the combat and the way the bosses are. But yeah, I mean, I didn't use I was playing it on my 4090 on my OLED, and I was playing it on ultra settings. I didn't actually use ray tracing. I thought that the software ray tracing looked absolutely fine and still looked very, very impressive. And yeah, on an OLED, it just looks absolutely stunning. So on those settings, like my base frame rate was around 80 to 90 FPS, but my TV supports up to 120 hertz, right? So I wanted to just cap it at that, just get a smooth, consistent frame rate. So using DLSS upscaling and frame generation did actually happen. Mind you, this is X2 frame gen, right? And the experience was actually pretty damn solid. Like it was still very playable. Input latency was, I want to say it was there, but not to the point where it'd be detrimental to your experience, where it was, making me lose fights or I couldn't progress any further. Like you definitely, I guess, get used to it. And it wasn't even that much of a hill to climb anyway, because it was already pretty low. So yeah, having a really good base frame rate is key, right? Like having 80-ish FPS, I think that's what's really key there. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like someone who's totally anti DLSS or anti frame gen. Like I think they definitely have their place. You guys used it, right? There's definitely scenarios where you can use it. I won't ever use frame generation in a multiplayer game, never. Like that is just a no-go. Like I'd rather just completely, I personally just go all low settings anyway, like in Black Ops. You guys see my benchmarks, I just do low settings anyway. But so I think they definitely have their place, like to help boost performance and alleviate issues.
I was going to say, like in the Black Ops comment, because I play Black Ops pretty often with like my friends, and I would usually do that. I would run everything low, but I've started to run on the 5090 everything as high as possible, minus a few things that are dumb, like just everything like motion blur off and like gun movement and stuff like that. But I do use DLSS quality, and at 4K, like that card in that game runs around like 165 to 200 FPS pretty much all the time. And it's a good experience, and I can see super clear. Like when I drop the settings to low, it's hard to see the target sometimes. Like there's things that you miss. And I understand like that higher FPS gives you the edge in like maybe something like what's that small map called? Iraq.
Well, most of them are small in Black Ops 6.
Stakeout.
Yeah, they're pretty close quarters.
Yeah, so I started Stakeout. Yeah, I started playing that one like crazy recently because I got used to like the shotgun.
I stay in that playlist,
and I'm like,
I stay in it.
In there.
I'm still waiting for the invite, by the way.
It's pretty fun. All right.
Put him on blast, man. Put him on blast.
I have a. So here's the thing, right? I'm a little bit of a loner. Like I don't usually play with people too often because Black Ops to me is kind of like my solitaire. I literally open it up and I play it for a little bit. And
No,
I just close
you're
it and I
fine,
get
man. I
bored,
like
and I don't
busting your
really
chops,
look
man. Yeah,
around.
no, I mean, yeah.
But no, for real, I will send you an invite, because the thing is that I play currently with my friend Vu, and we have this like one girl Yami and this other dude that plays with us, right? And like everyone has a good time, but like we would want more of a team. Like Danny, obviously you're invited too. I was even trying to thinking of getting Layla to play with us, my kid, and I was like, yeah, maybe she could jump in, and but she's not there yet.
Yeah,
She's
no, that's cool, man. Yeah, if you guys
but
ever want to play, I'm definitely down. I'm 9th prestige, level 25 or 6, I think. And
dude,
yeah,
I'm like
yeah,
third.
I'm going for
Yeah.
master, and I've kind of been working toward dark matter.
Like
Dark matter.
Dark
Dark matter is
Dark Matter,
is a
yes, I
thing
remember
that's
that one.
been in Call of Duty for years, and it always sucks to get it. Like, it's the coolest camo in the game, but it's not as cool as it used to be, because now you could just pay for really cool skins, you know? But back in the day, before you could do that, this was like the only active moving motion camo, but you had to earn it. And that meant like you got every weapon to diamond. Now it's like a get 33 weapons to diamond, and at the start of the game that was every weapon. But now that they're releasing more weapons, you're like, I don't want to work on handguns, so I'm just going to wait for the next battle pass, get another AR, and I'll level the AR. So you can kind of passively get to it over time. Anyway, sorry, totally derailed this conversation to Call of Duty.
I know.
I'll probably leave it in though. Speaking of Call of Duty, one last thing. You guys know I'm building that PC for that Call of Duty YouTuber, right? Yeah. Nero Cinema.
Yes.
That's cool. I've been hearing.